Zane Clodfelter with OttersTV, and we have a triple screen here. We have Preston Leinenbach, and we have Lucas Corley, a former broadcaster for the Evansville Otters for one season in 2017. And Lucas, thank you so much for joining us here on our final virtual broadcast of 2020.
Always a pleasure to be back with the old crew.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's good to see him.
Yeah, we know you've watched the first two, so what have been your favorite things about our virtual games so far?
I think the things I like most about the virtual broadcast are, one, it's just a chance for people to really enjoy Bossy Field while not being able to attend games. I know that's been hard across all levels of baseball. And then, of course, just the way that the Otters have been able to get the fans involved through social media, through videos like this, just as they relive some of the memories from older players, current players, and even people like myself that have been a part of the organization.
And what do you miss about Bossy Field and the Otters? That's the elephant in the room. What do you miss about us?
We know there's a laundry list.
Yeah, there is a laundry list. I mean, I think the thing I miss most about Bossy Field is just the history.
Not us.
Well, history comes first, Zane. History is timeless. People come and go. But okay. I was going to say that the history of Bossy
Field. Yeah, you come and go after 1 year. But go on, Lucas. Go on.
I was going to say the history of Bossy Field is just almost unmatched, especially in a town like Evansville that's got that small town feel, but just the passion that fans have for their baseball. Of course, all kidding aside, you have to miss the people. I was thinking about it as I was walking around getting ready for this call, thinking, I don't really remember too many of the games and necessarily results. You don't walk away knowing that it was 5-4, we beat Washington or whatever, but you remember a lot of the memories that you have with the people there, whether that be fans, of course, the front office staff, whether it be at the ballpark or, outside hanging out as a crew. You make a lot of really good friends through even just 1 year there. And obviously I'm still in contact with both you guys, and it's fun to catch up and hear about the Otters and what's going on. So obviously the friendships that have been made are something that will stick with me forever too.
And we went to a lot of different establishments after the game, a long list as well. So what was your favorite go-to spot post-game in your year in Evansville?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to have to give shout outs to 3 different ones. So the first one would be $5 bucket night at Bar Louie. That was always a classic for Wednesday nights. We go there. Another place I always loved was Sportsman's down on Franklin Street. Always had just a great atmosphere. We went after whenever Max Duvall signed with the Marlins. We went there to celebrate with him. So that was a fun memory, and just a lot of great memories made at Sportsman's. And then I've always just been very partial to the Gerst House. Those Kraut balls, the Reuben balls, and then, of course, they've just got a great beer selection. I love Gerst beer, and they're the only place that I know of other than Sportsman's that carries it on draft. So those are 3 places that I'll always remember from my time in Evansville.
I do want to bring up quickly, as you were with the Otters in 2017, and we had special theme nights. It was Preston's first year within our actual organization. Obviously, before 17, Preston did work with our flagship WUEV, but then 17 was his first year. It was your 1 year as the radio guy, and then I, of course, doing public address. What were some of your favorite theme nights? Because I know you had a part in a couple of them. German Heritage Night, Girl Scout Night, the list goes on. So what were some of the ones that stood out to you?
And if people are wondering why Preston's laughing, it's because Zane's trying to get me to say Bossy Field History Appreciation Night. There was 2. There was History and Appreciation. One was Zane's and one was mine. And Zane knocked his out of the park. And mine was game 2 of a doubleheader. I had completely forgot that we were having that promotion. So about 10 minutes before the game, I said, Zane, throughout this game, here's the History of Bossy Field book. I need you to just read from this thing a couple times. And so Zane's just like, oh, here's a fun fact. Did you know that Bossy Field, blah, 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 blah. And so long was a complete disaster. But I love German Heritage Night. I thought we knocked it out of the park. I think everybody did a great job.
Yeah, we partnered up on that one.
Yeah. Preston and I got $50 from Deputy Commissioner Steve Tassler. He thought we did such a great job. So that was fun. And, of course,
Steve Tassler has never paid me, and I've been with the team for a decade. Are you kidding me?
Well, it all started because I asked him if we got 5,000 fans, if he'd give us $100. And I think we ended up drawing close to 3. He's like, not bad, guys. And he gave us $50 each. So Girl Scout Night was fun because the videos of me and Jeff, our former box office manager, trying to set up these tents. And the Girl Scouts don't have any clue to do it. They don't have the instructions. So we're just like, does this work here? Does this work here?
No, they did have the instructions. The problem was yourself and Jeff Roos were reading the instructions and not properly following those instructions.
Still documented in Otters TV history.
Yeah, you can find
No,
the
and that was the
hashtag
early
and scroll
days of
back.
Otters TV, and look where we are now.
Yeah, you
Zoom.
can still go back if you use the hashtag and find those videos if you scroll back far enough.
I want to ask you, with your 1 year doing radio and what is appropriate to say here on this interview, what was your favorite Bill McKeon moment?
I would say there's always a good selection. I think, honestly, it became kind of a running joke for Bill and I towards the end of the season as you drag on into a season. And so we'd take a segment towards the beginning of each broadcast, and I'd say, Bill, what's the go-to at the concession stand tonight? And he'd kind of tell me what he had and tell the audience what he had for dinner. And he'd say, the pork chop sandwich was really good today. Of course, washed down with a nice brisk iced tea is what I had today. Just absolutely love it. So he'd always give the audience what he liked from the concession stand that day. So that became fun. Of course, we have Paul Mattingly back in the studio would always play the old Bill moments from past years. And so we come back to a broadcast and maybe a train had just passed in the last half inning. And so coming back from break, Paul would play, Bill's old toot toot, here comes the train or whatever it was. And so we always had a lot of fun on the broadcast, just keeping it loose, keeping it light over the course of, a long season.
Bill likes his sandwiches very particular. Now, years ago when I first started with the team, before they, really tightened up, security and restrictions within the kitchens and whatnot, Bill McKeon used to go into the kitchen and basically stand over the shoulder of the poor cook who had to flip his double burger. And if you've ever had a cheeseburger with Bill McKeon, know that he likes it rare, very rare.
Which is hard to pull off with the concession stand hamburger.
Right. So that's why he would go in and stand over the shoulder. And then they asked him, hey, just, stand. And then he would be yelling through the window, making sure that they weren't overcooking his sandwich. So he's clearly an icon. And Lucas, I do want to bring up, you've had a little bit of a professional change here recently. The backdrop doesn't necessarily reflect the city of Indianapolis and the burbs, but you are in central Indiana. It's changed a lot since I've been there last.
Yeah, as you can tell, there was a big fault line that caused some mountains, and it's a very cold winter here already. No, so yeah, the last time I think we talked before the last virtual broadcast, I was recorded for. Don't know if I made it on.
You were on the chopping room floor, but you're going to make it this time.
Hey, there we go. But the last time we talked anyway, I was still with Kingfish Restaurants doing marketing, but I've since actually taken position up at Whiteland High School, just south of Indy, about 20 minutes south, doing radio and TV. I'm the radio TV teacher there, as well as teaching some marketing courses. So it's been a fun switch. Definitely the stresses of being a teacher. I believe, Zane, your sister is a teacher. So she's probably told you all about the stresses of this year and COVID and all the changes, but definitely jumping in as a first-year teacher, it's been tough, and that's added to it a little bit as well. But it's been a fun adjustment. Really enjoy the city of Indianapolis and getting to see some friends that I haven't seen in a long time, just because they've been living up here. So it's been fun so far.
Yeah, and then going further back, catch our fans up, the year after you left us, before this past year at Kingfish, you were down in Tennessee working for the Smokies, and but you can explain to our fans you were not the radio broadcaster there.
No, I got a chance to do a little PA. I was coming after Zane's job, trying to build my resume and then come back to Evansville, but I didn't get enough reps behind the mic. So essentially, I was down there doing sales, and then just decided I wanted to get back closer to home and really just spend some time around family. But then this job opened up. I thought it'd be a great fit, still close to home, only being, about an hour and a half, 2 hours up the road, in a great city in Indianapolis. So bouncing around a lot here early in the professional career, but a lot of lessons taken from each place I've been, a lot of friends made at each place I've been as well. So no regrets in that sense.
If someone just asked you, Lucas, sum up the Bossy Field experience in a story or a situation you found yourself in, what would be that number one thing that would pop first to your mind that you just would have to share, either for comedic value or a personal value?
I think the thing that would sum up Bossy Field the best for me would be that very first E is for Everyone night. And the reason that comes to mind is because it really highlights what the experience I had in terms of the front office and the fans. So if people remember back to that first E is for Everyone night, we didn't really know what to expect in terms of turnout. We thought we've given away a lot of these E is for Everyone tickets. It was free for fans to come. But it took a lot of work on the front office's part, one, to get those tickets out in the community, and then two, to actually put it on that night. There's just, if people know, we're a small staff. We have interns and things like that, but we're not a big staff really for the most part. So the work it took for everybody to put that on, and then just to see it all pay off was just, it just being a packed night. And it's tough. It's stressful during those packed nights. I mean, the lines can get a little bit long, but people were patient with us. So the fans were actually pretty good in terms of being patient as well. And then at the end of the night, just kind of being a small town team, we didn't have those readers for tickets. We're sitting there counting stubs by hand to see what the attendance was for E is for Everyone night. So that's kind of like goes back to that small ballpark feel, but it was fun. And then, of course, as you mentioned, finding a local establishment after that game to maybe let off a load of the stress we had from that day. But just one that was awesome to see, really. And you know this from being around for such a long time, that Bossy really glows when it has that atmosphere. And so that's why it's obviously just awful to see that there couldn't be a season this year, and that even across other levels that there haven't been fans. It really takes away from what baseball really means and bringing people out with their families and their friends.
Final thing before we let you go, because we know you're a busy man, I would like Preston to share his favorite Lucas moment from the 1 year in 2017, and then I'll share mine after Preston, because we want to have a little bit of fun here. So Preston, do you have a Lucas memory or moment that is worth sharing?
Oh wow, there's so many. I mean, the thing that comes to my mind for me, not really necessarily just Lucas, but for us that year, I think that was the first time we had our staff game that year, that summer. And I believe at one point Lucas put on the entire catcher's gear, I believe, and got behind home plate. I don't know how long that lasted. I can't remember how long that lasted, but
it was a very hot night going into the All-Star break. I did not keep it on long. I just remember Zane. We had to rule out bunting because Zane we were playing like 5-on-5, and Zane kept trying to bunt it.
Yeah, because I kept getting base hits because you guys kept playing so far back.
And then I also remember, especially the one night Zane was on assignment, so Lucas filled in as the public address announcer, and if I remember right, he was kind of trying to multitask that night. I believe that was when IU was playing Ohio State.
And football's the season opener on ESPN.
Yeah,
trying to be a good
try to do that and work the music computer and everything. That was an interesting experience. I think also that said, I was doing the radio with Bill.
And you were keeping
also official scoring. So I too was multitasking.
And I was the man in charge that year, and I was at the IU Ohio State game. So thanks guys for filling in. I will share. So that is a pretty good story, even though I wasn't there. And wasn't that the night where the Otters retired John Schultz's number?
It was.
Yeah, so
John Schultz's number. We didn't have an on-field MC that night. I'm watching the game. There's a couple times where I forgot to fade out the music, and the first pitch goes by, and the umpire looks up at me, and I'm like, "Oh, sorry,"
So my first impressions for me are very big. So I take a lot of pride in the fact that I brought Preston into the Otters fold in 2017, but Preston had made a tremendous first impression years before, meeting him at the University of Evansville doing a baseball game there. Lucas, my first impression of you, though, was when we went to Chironi's and we were having brainstorming sessions on potential ideas. Yeah, and you're laughing because Lucas had just moved to Evansville, and a couple of the other people on staff, we had been there a couple of years. We knew what to expect, how different things would be reacted to from our fan base. And man, Lucas had all of these ideas, and I don't want to get into particular specifics just because of how asinine one of his ideas was, but I was eating like the garlic cheese bread at Chironi's when Lucas said it, and I had to like spit it out because I was laughing so hard. But a couple of his ideas.
You can't leave the people hanging. I'm just going to tell them it was like a murder mystery type, like dinner, dinner theater. And it was going to be who killed Evan the Otter. And he was going to be hiding during the game, and there would be clues, and then we'd find him, and he was going to be okay. But Zane was just like, did he just say Evan the Otter is dead? And I was like, no.
I was extremely vocal, and I felt so bad because I felt like a piranha but yes, one of my all-time favorites. So anytime I go into Tironi's Forget-Me-Not off of Weinbach, I look in that corner where we were sitting, and I do think of all of us sitting there. I looked at Jake Riffert and just shook my head like, oh my gosh, this new guy. But look, we've been friends ever since.
Yes, that's true.
Well,
I will
Lucas,
also say, too, the takeaways I have, Zane also was the one that taught me AP style for – I didn't always follow it, but he's the one that taught me AP style for writing press releases. So I got to give him credit on that. And then I'll never forget the trip that Preston, as well as some of the other front office staff, took out to New Busch Stadium, to see the Cardinals. I believe they played the Cubs, didn't they, Preston? So we were out there watching that game. That was towards the end of the season, but that one was a blast as well.
I honestly don't remember that.
I was not invited to that.
I might not have made that trip.
I thought you did make that trip. Oh, no, I'm mixing up the other one. You actually were out. You came out to, what was it, Gateway with me and Zane towards the end of the season.
Yeah, that was the toilet paper night.
That's the toilet paper night. So I'm mixing up my stories.
Yes.
So close. They were so close to St. Louis. I got my St. Louis stories mixed up. But yes, Preston was out there for the toilet paper night, which if you've never been to Gateway, and if Evansville is ever playing out there towards the end of the season and you want to make a road trip, it is something to behold. They TP the entire field. So that was a fun memory from on the road as well.
Well, Lucas, we really appreciate you sharing some of these stories. Preston, thanks for joining as well. And it was great catching up. It feels like 2017 all over again, even though we're, in different parts of the state. So he's Lucas Corley. That's Preston Leinenbach. I'm Zane Clodfelter, and this has been Otters TV. Da-da-da-da.